The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter at wreckingandracing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the 2019 mod. And we are here at the tricky triangle of Pocono, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not one of my favorite circuits to drive. Basically, your car is set up for one turn, so that's what you have to make work. The other two turns are just sort of out to lunch. As you can see, we didn't have a very good qualifying effort back here. We're back here among the likes of Chris Buescher and Tanner Berryhill, but Kyle Busch is there on the inside, not having a good qualifying effort for him. Brandon is a few rows up in that wreckingandracing.com podcast. Toyota green flag is in the air for 20 laps at Pocono. We are on the longest straightaway in NASCAR, long enough to land a 747 if need be, and you can get a lot of speed and make up some time going into turn one. We're down here on the bottom. You can see Ryan Blaney got the pole for this race. He is up there. Brandon making some moves. We're on the inside. Kyle Busch giving us everything that we can handle. Chris Buescher to our outside. Turn 2 is modeled after Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is one of my favorite tracks. So this should be a place that we can make up a lot of ground here if the car will cooperate. Because unlike an Indianapolis setup where you're set up for all four corners, I'm not exactly sure what corner this car is set up to run. Definitely not turn 3. Nice and flat. It's set up as the Milwaukee Mile. We're into Eric Jones just a bit. We get out of the groove. Kyle Busch takes that spot, and Jeffrey Earnhardt down to the bottom. Brandon back and forth trying to make up spots as well. And pretty much everyone is still within shouting distance of one another. The draft is huge here down this straightaway. A lot of speed you can carry. It's just how good a car do you have. You see Brandon washed up into the 32 just a bit. On the inside of turn 1, they're 3 wide in front of us, almost 3 wide anyway. We might be able to capitalize on such things as these. We don't want to go 3 wide going into turn 2. The tunnel turn is very slick, and this car is set up to be a little bit more free than I would like it. It's just an interesting balance where you're tight, and then it just gets snappy loose. That's the best that I could do for this track. I can imagine the real crew chiefs have a massive headache to set up for this track, and friggin' Daniel Suarez goes 3 wide, just throwing his nose in there. He makes it work. I'm being extremely careful here. The car is not to my liking whatsoever. After an hour of practice, I still couldn't get the car set up just how I want it. So we'll make do with what we got. Oh, the 32 almost into the 13. I think he moved Ty Dillon up the hill just a bit. That could have been a caution, but was not. Speaking of cautions, the pace, or the pit road, looks to be just after lap 10 or so. We'll have to pit at around the halfway mark for fuel. And tires are going to be a big thing too. All 4 tires wear pretty evenly here at Pocono. Your right sides do a lot getting into the corner, and your left sides do a lot trying to keep you down on the bottom. Speaking of on the bottom, looking to the inside of Eric Jones, thinking better of it. Turn 3, you can see how loose we are on entry. And the AI really dive bombs turn 3 pretty hard. I don't know how they can keep their car so stable charging into the corner like that. It may hurt their drive off, but you know, we have to run what we brung here. Inside of Jeffrey Earnhardt, the leaders aren't that far ahead, just a few seconds ahead. So anything is possible, especially if these guys get together here. We'll just have to keep an eye out and make runs where we can. Speaking of which, there we go, right under Daniel Suarez, looking 3 wide under Eric Jones. And Ty Dillon, we might be able to complete the pass here. We've got the preferred line. Eric Jones rolls out, and Ty Dillon rolls out as well. So we got a twofer going into the tunnel. I'll take it. Small goals. We want to keep working our way forward here, and with these guys running side by side, we might be able to capitalize a bit. They're starting the single file out there, as you can see, up ahead of David Reagan, and everyone in front of him is starting the single file out, and we're going to get strung out really quickly here. The AI should be on a very similar pit strategy as us, looking at about lap 10 to pit, and we'll have to keep mindful. pit road entry isn't bad here. You could pretty much go through turn 3 full speed and then get out of the racing line and still have plenty of time to slow down in a pretty straight line. But we're not slowing down here on the track, going for 3 wide under the 32, looking under Hemrick as well, see if we can get to the inside of him on the tunnel turn. And indeed we can get, almost 3 wide through the tunnel, really loose on the bottom, you can see. We did pass the 34, but Hemrick kept us honest there on the outside, not giving us any room to move. Hemrick's going to be tough to pass, it looks like, but we did make up a few spots there. Brandon is there behind David Reagan in front of this little group of cars, and as you can see, everyone in front of us really starting to single file out. So this is where we need to get off the corners as straight as possible and carry as much speed down these straightaways as we can. If we have a bad turn exit, that is going to mess up the entire straightaway that follows it. And unlike an intermediate track where you'll have like a dog leg or something of that nature, this track is like tight corner and then massive straightaway, then tight corner, then massive straightaway. So corner exit speed is key. Under the 8, feeling pretty good about this. We should be able to get the drive off and get by Hemrick here. Indeed we can. As long as we're making forward progress, I'm going to be happy. This is not a race that going in I feel we can win. But I want to put on a little bit of a show, get in some racing here just a bit. Now we've got a little bit to go to catch up to the 88 of Alex Bowman. But we do have clean racetrack that we can approach this as we can, drive as hard as we can, and not be impeded by other cars taking away our racing line. So we should be able to get pulled up here ever so slightly. Bowman's getting a pull off the car in front of him. We're getting the pull off Bowman. Hemrick's getting a pull off of us. It's going to allow us all to stay pretty close together until at least pit stops come. You see the leader going into turn 3 right there. So we're about 4 or 5 seconds back. Hemrick really stuffs it into the bottom. Car is loose, wanting to slide out from under us. We'll see if we can get the drive off of this corner and get the pull off of Bowman right out to the wall, and indeed we can. Good defense there. The other Childress car pulling off to the side, though, that's Austin Dillon. Down to the bottom and out of the racing line. I wonder what's up with Austin, but he is definitely off the pace. And at 2.5 miles, he's going to have a pretty long trip back to pit road at minimum speed, that is for sure. So that's the easiest pass we'll make all day right there. And a pass is a pass, I'll take it. So right here on the back bumper of Bowman again, with them side by side, Kyle Busch and Paul Menard, we should be able to sneak in here and start getting a good position on these guys. Got Casey Kane on the inside of Bubba Wallace. The 88 leaves the door open, we'll slide in just a bit. He gets loose and we lose 2 spots. So just like that, we try to make a bold move, we wash out just a bit, and then we pay for it. In fact, the 34 is getting the run as well. This is the hardest fought 30th place finish I think I'll have all year. Even road courses won't be so tough, I don't think. And I mean, this track, they call it the oval that handles like a road course because there's just so many different corners. Each corner is literally different. So, you know, you have to sort of attack it like a road course. Speaking of attack, there is Suarez trying to look under the 8, getting the pull off the 95 here. Old D Burrito holding up this bottom line. We should be able to get that run on the inside of Suarez. And turn 3 is the Achilles heel for me for sure. If we drive in too hard, we wash out and we lose spots. If we don't drive in hard enough, we get run over and lose spots. And if we hit it perfect, we're still not fast enough and lose spots. So turn 3 is not a good corner for us. Suarez with the big push to the outside, right behind Hemrick. He's got the drafting help. We're trying to keep a nose as close as we can to Hemrick, get as much pull as possible down to the inside, drive it in deep. We'll wash up a little bit, kind of a slide job. We weren't exactly clear, but we are now. Hemrick rolls out. That was a bit of a forced maneuver, but those are the kind of moves that we need to do. before pit stops. We need to get as far front as possible. We actually might do a 2-tire change to make up some track position. I mean, it's worth doing. In order to win, you must do what the leaders don't if you aren't fast, and we've got all of these seconds to make up, and that may be enough to do a 2-tire change. The 88, a little loose and almost into the 9 of Chase Elliott there. Cars are starting to come to pit road, so here we go. We're going to make up these spots on pit road. We'll be looking to come in a time or two, and I think 2 tires is going to be the call. We're going to fill up for fuel, and we're going to see if we can leapfrog some of these guys. There's Brandon on the outside of Clint Boyer, looking strong, and there's Martin Truex Jr., who seems to be the leader of this group that did not pit. So we're sitting in about 8th place or so, 8th to 10th place, looking behind Chase Elliott. If we can get to the inside before pit road, that would be ideal, but we don't want to be on the inside of Chase if he decides to pit, because he will drive straight through us. You know, we don't exist when Chase Elliott wants to come to pit road, and here they come. The 88 is looking low. He will be coming to pit road this time. Ideally, we want a nice, clean pit road entry. I think I'll go around again. Whoop, there's the 88, and Brandon on that same strategy as well. You can see cars coming off pit road in front of us. They will be at the tail end of the lead lap. And the thing about Pocono is if you're in the lead group, you can do a 4-tire stop and not go a lap down if the caution were to come out. So it's not like we're going to trap anybody a lap down here, but we are going to charge as hard as we can, get the most out of these tires before the stop. And we'll just see what happens here. So running in second, there's Brandon in the lead. Will be coming this time. Pit road is after turn 3. And I mean, if we can execute a quick pit stop, we may come out ahead. It just depends on how well we can get on and off pit road and how much trouble everyone else is having coming off of pit road. There's no access road, so you shoot straight off of pit road and you blend in turn 1. So the guys are going to be fighting hard. So here we come down pit road. Brandon is looking low, and there we come as well. 4,000 in second gear. And yellow is out, and we're trapped. Crap, that is going to be a penalty for entering a closed pit. We might as well take all 4 tires and fuel now and repair the car as much as we can. And there the 38 pops into existence, so Matt Tifft involved in this incident that brings out the caution right before we got on pit road. So, yeah, I mean, we probably would have been in the same place anyway. Everyone else would have stayed out. We would have pitted, and we would have been on the tail anyway. But we'll get caught back up and see where this shakes out. I'll be right back with you for the green. Pace car is about ready to leave the track, and as you can see, Brandon was also pegged for tail end of the longest line for pitting on a closed pit. Now, I thought he was past the pit road entry when the yellow flag came out, so really, he should be up there in the middle where he blended. But, you know, we have to pay our dues here. Green flag is in the air. Both of us are going to be hard charging with just a handful of laps to go. And everyone's going to be on pretty new tires. Everyone is going to be going as hard as we can. Let's see, is Austin Dillon out there? Yep, Austin Dillon is back up to speed after his slowness. He's several laps down. Oh, crap. Well, we drove in too hard. Car got loose. Keep it off the wall. We scraped the back end on the wall just a little bit. Does the yellow come out? No, of course not. We stay green. So this is not good. I mean, the track is big enough we're not going to lose a lap. But then we're going to, unless there's a crash and we can pass some people, we'll be the last car on the lead lap. And not how I wanted to end the race for sure, but that's Pocono. Like I said, not my favorite racetrack. The car is just, I could not get the car comfortable. So we'll ride and see what happens. I mean, the race certainly isn't over. There could be a quick yellow. There could be a big crash. We might be able to get into the top 20, optimistically, but we will see. At least one thing about it, we'll have all the track to ourselves and we'll be able to run as fast as we can. And we won't be around anybody, but it feels like a restrictor plate track whenever you lose the draft and you're just all alone in the combat zone. Ideally, we want to see those yellow lights come on. We want to hear there's a big crash in one of the straightaways. We want to hear, oh man, everyone is crashing. But so far, no luck. At this point, you just kind of have to give up and go hard and get them next week. We'll do what we can, though. Try not to crash again. There's not a 3-spin rule, but, I mean, sometimes there should be. We'll try not to spin a second time. How about that? Oh, geez. Car is really loose getting into 3. It is just so snappy. Like, not snappy like, oh man, this thing is quick, it's snappy. No, it's like you turn in and all of a sudden your rear end is coming out from under you. So we'll see if we can finish with some dignity here. It definitely feels pretty lonely. 2.5 miles all to yourself. Feels like qualifying, really, which is bad because we didn't qualify worth anything, if I'm honest. Jeez, okay, so I didn't think the car could be any worse, but it certainly is. So maybe the spin took all the grip out of the tires. I don't know. We're on 3X tire wear, so a spin like that would actually be doing that spin 3 times as much. I don't know. I'm probably just making excuses for me not being able to drive this place. And what fun. We get to come back in like 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah, it's one thing I don't understand about this particular year, and interesting to see what they do next year when they do a double header, a Saturday and Sunday race. So that'll be interesting. I mean, for me, that means me and Brandon will race this place back to back, and it'll be 2 episodes in 1 week, which will be interesting as far as, you know, naming goes and all that other stuff. Stay tuned. We'll see you next June. Or next May, when all that kicks off. Actually, I think it's June, when they do the Pocono doubleheader. It's interesting that they're trying something new for sure. 2 cup races in 2 days. 2 separate cars, 2 separate tech inspections, 2 separate qualifyings, I think. It'll be interesting. A lot more interesting than this last 5 laps were, that is for sure. Coming across the line, hey, everyone's already like packed up and left their seat and they've gone to the parking lot by now. The checkered flag is out. Yay, here we come. And we will come across the line in 30 seconds. Woo! Nice. Couple runs like that, we'll be in. Oh, what happened to Brandon? What happened to Brandon? He finished 21st in the grand scheme of things, but okay. So on the cooldown lap, Brandon was already done. He's on the inside of the tunnel turn, and He just body checks William Byron. He might have been upset with William Byron about something. But one thing that we can do is actually look at our winners first and foremost, and then we'll see that incident with Matt Tifft. See what that was like. And ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick is your winner. First win this year. Right behind him, Denny Hamlin. Behind him, Ricky Stenhouse continues his uncharacteristic year. Brad Keselowski 4th, Jimmy Johnson 5th, Ryan Blaney 6th, 7th, Kyle Larson 8th, Daniel Suarez, really? 9th, Clint Boyer, and 10th, Eric Almirola. How in the world did Daniel Suarez, oh, hi Brandon, get himself from where we were? Okay, so he's coming down pit road, and the badness happened when he left pit road. So there he is, 3 wide with Ty Dillon and Tanner Berryhill. Okay, everyone's coming down pit road. And then one thing we can check and see is, was Brandon on pit road when the yellow came out? So the 3 wide still running hard. Tifft ain't giving up. Berryhill ain't giving up. Into the 32 and over is the 36. Oh man, that is a vicious crash. Yeah, I could see why. Oh, man, if David Reagan had hit him, that would have been huge. Man, what did that look like for the 33? Because he saw all of that from his driver's perspective. Let's get on the roof. So there they are, and then up into the 36, and in he goes. And up and over, up and over. Dang, that was vicious. Yeah, that looked pretty heavy indeed. So when that caution came out, let's watch the lights. All right, so it was green at that point. Probably the spectator cam would give us a good view. That way we could see when the lights did come on. So there's slow motion. And there's the time of caution. So Brandon, oh, he was past it. You could see we were way off. We would have had to peel hard right there and get back on the track to not get a penalty. But Brandon was right there at the point of caution. He had to be across this line. So essentially, yeah, Brandon was pegged for entering a closed pit when he was on pit road, and he would have blended right there. So there's Harvick, the leader. Brandon would have been in 2nd or 3rd. I mean, depending on, you know, where timing and scoring would have lied, but there would have been a line right here on the wall. And I think maybe Ricky would have gotten to it first, but either way, Brandon would have restarted that race in 3rd. And that race could have ended up a completely different way. But, on to greener pastures, I guess. Let's take a look at the standings after Pocono. Brandon with 6 wins, sitting there with 4 myself. Kevin Harvick moves up into 4th place with his 1 win. There's 4 other winners besides us. Alex Bowman is your cutoff driver by 1 point. Austin Dillon to the good. Joey Logano 7 back. Menard 12 back. Kyle Busch 13 back. I guess he didn't have a decent run. And Daniel Suarez, if he keeps having runs like he had there, he might chop into those points. But it is a half a race up to 10th and a half a race down to 20th. But that will do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you next week for the very fast 2-mile D-shaped oval of Michigan. Take care.